I've been asked a million times, how do you cook the perfect steak? And today, I'm going to show you. Now, I've got a big bone-in ribeye, but no matter what steak you're going to cook, they all do the same thing, all right? And I'll explain that to you in just a moment. But first, and very important rule, you must temper your steak. What I want you to do is take your steak out of the fridge about an hour or so before you cook it. What you're doing is you're letting that steak to come closer to room temperature, which means it's going to cook more evenly. Next, you want to season it before you put it into the pan or onto the grill. So make sure you season it generously with salt. I don't put pepper because the pepper will burn. And then I actually will even go to the detail of just rolling it in the salt so you are even seasoning the side, okay? Third rule, very important one, preheat your pan. When you put a piece of steak into a pan, you want to hear this. That's going to seal in some of those juices and give you extra sweetness. It's the natural sugars in the protein come to the surface. The deal is you want to cook that on a nice high temperature because you want to get that sear, that beautiful caramelization. But you can't leave it on one side for too long. So after a minute or maybe two, I want you to pick your steak up and have a little look. Oh yeah. See how we're already developing that beautiful caramelization? Here's what's so cool about that. We're getting that beautiful golden brown on one side, now we're going to get it on the other, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, it's going to get overcooked. It's going to get too dark on the outside. No, what we're going to do is remove it from the heat, and we're going to allow it to rest for about 3 or 4 minutes each time we remove it from the heat. And that way it's going to be a very slow, gentle way of cooking this steak, while still doing it on a high heat. It's already starting to smell good. I think that's about the same amount of time on both sides. Next, I'm going to pick the steak up and just sort of work it from one side to the other, just to get that little bit of caramelization all the way around there. Okay, time to rest the steak. I'm going to pop it here on my little trivet or rack, and that's going to let it rest for about 5 minutes. While that happens, we've got a bit of time to go ahead and make a delicious compound butter. What you do is you choose some flavors that you like with the steak or the fish or whatever it is that you're going to use it on, and then you mix it through with butter. It's that simple, right? I've got some shallots, which I've just finely chopped, which is beautiful. With the garlic, you want to use your grater and go straight over like that. Very good. Some thyme. You can put whatever herbs you like. If you like parsley, go ahead, use parsley. You know, when I come up with a dish, I kind of like to think about the mood I want to set. I also try and think about where the ingredients came from. So when I was putting this menu together, I thought, you know what? Yarrie Station, dry, dusty, a little bit smoky. So then I started thinking about charring beef and thinking about that smokiness, which is where I got the smoked paprika from. Next, get a couple of chipotles. This is that smoky pepper, and you chop. Woo, it's not just smoky, it's spicy, baby. So put a couple of those in. Yes, it is. And mix that through as well. Okay, grab a roll of cling film, drop it on in, and then what you're going to do is kind of roll it like that, and you'll end up with this beautiful log of flavored butter. Pop it in the fridge to let it sit. My internal timer just went off and I need to put my steak back in. I've let it rest for about 5 minutes, so time to up the heat. Take that steak and give it another 2 minutes on either side. This time you don't need the pan to be as fierce as it was before. You wanted to get that aggressive sear the first time. Now you're looking for more of a moderate heat. To accompany this big juicy steak, I've got some tomatoes and I'm going to cook those in the broiler with a little bit of Parmesan cheese and garlic. Cut them in half. Pop your tomatoes on a tray. I've got panko breadcrumbs right here. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And then I'm going to grate just a little bit of Parmesan. And when I say a little bit, I'm not telling you the truth. I'm going to do quite a lot because I really like Parmesan in my crust. Take the garlic straight over your grater. And then you need to add just a little bit of olive oil. It's funny, you know, I was thinking about Annabelle and the people that lived up on that ranch. And the truth is, they are so remote. You guys, their nearest neighbor, you have to fly to go and see. I mean, that's how remote it is. In fact, when we were trying to get there to the station, we're in a small aircraft. we thought that we'd arrived and we pulled up on this little landing strip. And as we're getting out of the plane, this guy pulls up in his ute, they call it, in his pickup truck. He walks over and he's like, "What are you looking for?" And we said, "Oh, we're here at Yarrie Station." And he said, No, Yarrie Station's not here. It's over there." And I see the pilot talking to this guy who's just got out of his pickup truck. And then the guy starts drawing in the sand. And he's drawing the airstrip and he's drawing a homestead. And I walk over and I'm like, "Are you getting directions by a man drawing in the sand?" And that's how we found it. I mean, we literally, it's not even on the GPS. It really is just so remote, you can't quite get your handle on it. And I think to myself, how do those guys live? You know, how can you survive like that? But they're very, very happy, and it's really humbling to meet people that are just so comfortable in their own skin, doing what they do and doing what they love. Okay, these go into the oven. I've got that set to broil, and they'll take about 5 minutes if the broiler's preset. So you're doing 2 minutes on either side, let it rest. 2 minutes on either side, you let it rest again. Now that might be enough, depending on how thick your steak is. But I'm looking at this big guy and I think it probably needs a couple more minutes on either side. I've got some asparagus here, which I thought is another great, humble ingredient that's just so delicious. Look at that, it literally knows exactly where to snap. And you get rid of all that woody portion and you just keep the good bits. If you can't get your hands on asparagus, this could be zucchini. It could be eggplant. There's so many vegetables that grill so nicely. Oh, yes. Look at that crust. It's golden, it's sweet and delicious. I cannot wait to cut into this steak. Now, how do you know when your steak's cooked? The only real way you know how it's cooked on the inside is through using one of these, a probe thermometer. This is a kinetic energy one, so I give it a shake to wake it up. Now, the temperature that you're looking for depends on what you want your doneness like. I like mine medium rare, so I'm sort of always looking for my steak to be somewhere around 125, 130. So once you're happy with the color, okay, you can now remove it from the pan. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me take my asparagus, drop it into the grill pan. We're going to get a little color on that. We're cooking it in the same pan as the steak, so you'll get all those lovely residual flavors. Here it is. The compound butter is ready. You can see it's nice and firm. You're going to go ahead, cut that. I mean, you see all the flavor inside that butter. Of course, you need to remove that cling film. So what I do is take that butter, drop it onto my steak just like that. Okay, once your asparagus is golden on the outside, and look at that, beautiful little char marks everywhere, it's done. I think my steak's ready, so let me go and get that. Have a look at this. Oh my goodness. Bring it on over to your cutting board. Remove the bone first of all. That'll give you a little peek as to how it's cooked, and that looks pretty perfect to me. Then, we're going to go ahead and slice our ribeye. Oh yes. Can you see how beautifully pink that is? My tomatoes are done. They're looking golden, crispy and fabulous. And also that lovely asparagus. I don't know about you, but a perfectly cooked steak makes me very happy. And thanks for watching. Now, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you want more, because I've got plenty to give you. All you have to do is subscribe.